Hello, and welcome back to the Jane Eyre Book Club, where we talk about only one book, Jane Eyre. So today we're going to be talking about the beginning of Jane Eyre right until the point she meets Mr. Rochester. And to be honest with you, when I picked up this book, I was like, oh, I'm going to be reading about their love story the whole time and how they meet and all that jazz, all that crap. But unfortunately, I was like 100 pages in, and I was like, where is he? Where's Mr. Rochester?
Where's Rick? Don't care. Where's Rick?
So the beginning of Jane Eyre basically talks about her early depressing life. She basically lives with this trash family who only takes care of her because her family died. And her stepbrother per se is this fat ginger who's just absolutely terrible. So the first couple chapters are basically about her life with this family, and it absolutely sucks. They're the worst. Except for this one maid who works at the house, and she's actually nice to Jane Eyre. Everyone else is just you piece of crap, hate you, you suck. Eventually she's sent to this private school for girls called, I think, Lowood?
She had no reason to be confused. It was in fact the Lowood Institution.
It's kind of terrible there because they're super strict and they don't get a lot to eat because the guy who's in charge of it is a penny pincher and he's also the worst. And so she lives there for a time. She makes a best friend named Helen. They're besties for the resties, but Helen actually ends up dying, so it's not for the resties. It's the resties for Helen though, because she died. Eventually she gets to the age where she's like, oh, I should offer up my services as a governess because I can do that, and I really want to move out of this school because it's confining and I feel like I've read all the books and I'm not learning anything. Basically, she advertises in the newspaper and she's like, hey, I can be a governess. I'm smart. I can speak French. And so this rich lady named Mrs. Fairfax reads it and is like, hey, I want that. So eventually Jane Eyre snatches a carriage and goes off to this mansion, and at first she thinks she's working for Mrs. Fairfax because Mrs. Fairfax is the only person she sees, and she's like, oh, this is your house, right? And I'm gonna be basically a governess to your daughter. Mrs. Fairfax is like, you're wrong, sweetheart, this is not my house. I'm only a maid as well. It's actually owned by, you guessed it, Mr. Rochester, man. Anyway, that's basically the recap of the first part of the book. What will happen? Will she actually meet him since she knows it's his house now? I don't know. You'll just have to tune in next week. Alright. Goodbye.